Hello, Mona. How are you? That's good. I'm glad to hear that. All right, welcome everyone. I'm okay. It's a rainy day again, and I don't know. I'm kind of sick of the rain. We've had some nice weather, but every couple days it's raining, and it's just gloomy, and just makes you kind of feel lazy. You know. So it's going to be a rainy day inside. Uh, it's a Friday. Maybe I'll watch a movie tonight, hang out inside. But yeah, Okay, so I'm going to try something new today. I'm going to try something new. The new thing I'm going to try is I'm going to try to uh, invite people on stage. Every Friday I do English Q&A session. I do a couple of these a week. But I think I'm going to try to start making every Friday on stage Friday. So that when people say, "Can I come on stage on Monday?" I can say, "I'm sorry, you can't. But you can on Friday. Come on Friday." Okay? So this is a new strategy I'm going to attempt to try. We'll see if it works. It may not work, but um, we'll see. So, uh, we can begin. If you want to come on stage and talk to me, then raise your hand and you can come talk to me. Now, it would be much, much better if you have a question or a topic. Okay? If you have a question or a topic, that would be much better. If you just come on stage and say, "What's up?" That's a little weird. Okay? So, all right, let's see who's raising their hand. Oh, Abdullah is raising his hand. Let's talk to Abdullah.
My dear friend.
Hello, Abdullah.
Hello, Teacher Mark. What's up?
Not much. Not much. Same old, same old. That's what we say. And yourself?
Um, Great. Like before, having some English classes. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So, how could I help you today? You're in Iran, right? Are you in Tehran or where are you?
Yeah. Yeah, of course. I'm in Iran, but not in Tehran.
Okay.
Actually, I live in a small city called Mahabad, which is in western Azerbaijan and somewhere in the northwest of Iran. Yeah.
Ah, okay. All right. Cool. Interesting. So, what can I do for you today? How can I help you?
Actually, yeah, because you are an American guy, and I want to get my PhD degree in the field of industrial engineering, as I graduated from one of the most prestigious universities in Iran. And I got actually my master's degree about a few years ago, but there
Okay.
is a huge gap between my education. I want to come to the USA possibly and study there as a PhD student. So I
Okay.
just was wondering, how do you see your country right now because of new policies and new issues that are
Yeah.
kind of arising
Yeah.
everywhere. So,
That's a tricky one. I'm going to try to answer this question without getting too political, but I will just say that as a general rule, right now, I am usually a very inviting person who tells people, "Yeah, come to America, visit, or come study here, or whatever you want. Yeah, sure, come." But recently, no, I don't. I've recently been telling my foreign friends and followers that it's probably not the best time to come here.
mhm.
And to be honest with you, I would say you'd be better off at the University of Toronto.
Yeah, I see.
Um,
So, going to Canada is a better choice.
I think so right now. If you're talking about going in the next year or two, then probably.
Mhm.
Okay, I
And
don't I don't
what
want
about?
to I don't want to get too deep into why, like because that gets political and everything. But I'll just say this is right now in the things going on in my country. This is very very new. We've never had a feeling like this before, and it doesn't feel very welcoming.
Mhm.
It doesn't feel very
Yeah.
welcoming to anyone, really.
Mhm.
um, so I think you can relate, maybe. I think you can relate a little bit, you know. Um, so yeah, right now, like the stuff going on with Harvard University and the students that they're just picking up off the street for the things that they said, that's not what we do. We don't do that here, but we are. So it's not
Yeah.
good. It's not good at all. Um, but I don't know what else to say about it other than I just because I don't want anything bad to happen to anybody. I don't recommend it right now. And that's
Mhm.
that's unfortunate. I'm not happy to say that. Um,
Yeah.
uh, but I think it's a good idea to just wait and see in terms of us right now. Wait and see, And so yes, I would say that for a variety of reasons, Canada is a better choice. But to be honest with you, you know, uh, the other thing is depending on where you want to go study. Okay, for example, Harvard is a great university. But to be honest with you, the cost of Harvard versus going to some place like University of Toronto, the value of the degree is not worth the cost. And
Mhm.
more importantly, you can be a bad student at Harvard and then have a bad experience. But you can be a good student at Toronto and have an amazing experience.
Yeah.
So a lot of it has to do with the student. College is it's it's not about necessarily what the college has to offer. It's about what you are able to actually take advantage of.
Mhm.
And not everybody does. When they go to college, most people don't really push themselves or take advantage of the things that they could. So, um, I mean, unfortunately, that's true. Um, so what I would say is sometimes a lesser university with a higher mindset, your personal mindset being a higher
Mhm.
mindset, would be better than going to the best university with a low mindset. You know. Um,
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's really a hard one to answer. It breaks my heart to say, but not
I
the
see.
time to come visit or to come to a study. Unfortunately, that's what I would say. I don't think it's in your best interest right now because things are too unpredictable.
Yeah. Of course there are.
Yeah.
And I really like the way that you answered my question because you mentioned something amazing there. You talked about mindset. When someone's got this growth mindset, they can go from strength to strength, undoubtedly, even though they are not in this very thriving environment, let's say.
Right. Yeah. That's the way that the world works. So for example, like in my industry as a musician, I'm a drummer also besides being a teacher, and
Mhm.
my city is not known for being a good music city. But what that means is if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. So
Yeah.
like the
Mm.
same kind of idea happens where like if you create a mindset here where okay, I'm going to struggle but I'm going to do it. Okay, but now I can carry that mindset to another place and man, I'll do really well because if the conditions are just a little bit better, then just imagine what I could do there, you know? Um so mindset is very important in life.
So let's just dive deep into this mindset. How
Sure.
can we go from this fixed mindset to growth mindset and to try not to change the environment, the air, the conditions that are out of our control, and only focus on ourselves?
Um that's an interesting question. Growth mindset is something that we all have, I think, but we have, I think some of us have forgotten, some of us have uh, been distracted by things. So, for example, the truth of the matter is in the world right now, we're focused too much on productivity of products and not on productivity of self. And so what I mean is great. We make a lot of products. We do that really well. That's wonderful. Good. We're productive. Wonderful. But the job of every human being is to develop themselves. And we've really fallen behind on that. People do not develop themselves anymore at all. They don't even think it's needed. They don't even know you're supposed to. It's really insane, you know? From birth until death, you're supposed to be learning and growing. That's the way this thing called life is. Life is one big school of learning, and you're supposed to be paying attention, but not everybody is. And I think most people are not. Most people go through life trudging through. And again, they're so focused on things like paying bills and earning money that they lose sight of if you pay those bills and you earn that money, that's great. But now, who are you as a person to do something with that money? Right? So that's why we have a lot of people with a lot of money, but a little character. So and that's what we have. That's why the world is such a struggling place right now because anyone with true character wouldn't feel comfortable having so much when so many have so little.
Yeah, of course.
you know
I couldn't agree more.
yeah. So uh you know that's why we say with great power comes great responsibility, right? But not everybody's living up to that responsibility. And again, personal responsibility is what we were talking about with this growth mindset, right? And so for that, how can we do that? You have to cultivate a growth mindset. You have to create an environment for yourself that will grow you. So for example, I sometimes I tell people that they need to cultivate their social media feed more. You know, uh, I use social media a lot. I do use Facebook quite a bit. I'm old, so I use Facebook. But Facebook, but on my Facebook, what do you see on my Facebook when I'm scrolling through? Posts about history, about philosophy, about science, about uh, um, travel, about culture, about um, technology, quotes from famous people, things to think about. Um, I have catered my social media feed to be positive. So if I am on it, okay, fine. It's not bad to be on a phone a lot. It's bad to be on a phone a lot if it's only bad things that you're using it for, right? If a hammer is just a hammer, right? But a hammer in a baby's hand is different than a hammer in a carpenter's hand, you know?
Mhm.
So um, that's why, uh, I cater my social media feed. I cater my apps. My phone is full of things that benefit me mostly. You know, um, even video games. I'm one of these guys that I don't play that many video games ever. But if I do, it has to have some sort of value. Like I have to
Mhm.
get something out of it, um, learning wise. There's something that I have to do, And then I also constantly do two things. One, I cultivate my curiosity because curiosity is something that we have as a child in great amounts. But as we get to be adults, we're told that being curious is a childish thing. That asking questions is what children do, you know. So you're not supposed to ask questions so much as an adult. You're supposed to have the answers, but they don't. No, they're just as clueless as the children. They're just not asking the questions anymore because that's not what you're supposed to do when you're an adult. So having the curiosity of a child is still really important even when you're an adult. That's what allows you to pursue things and continue to learn and push yourself to want to grow more. And then I also try to put myself in the mindset of like, if I'm doing something mundane, if I'm doing something normal, plain, like watching TV, I watch TV, of course I do. But when I'm watching TV, if I'm watching some TV show that's just like a sitcom, right? I enjoy it on a few different levels. So I'll watch it and enjoy it on a basic level of just the humor, but I also will think about it on different other levels, like psychological levels, social levels, cultural levels. I'll imagine if Albert Einstein were watching this right now, what would he be thinking? If Stephen Hawking were watching this right now, what would he be thinking? Like how would he, if Werner Herzog were watching this right now, what would he be thinking? Um, and it helps me because it helps me to think of things that were not there plainly. They're not there right in front of you. You have to find them, right? But that's why curiosity is so important. If you don't have curiosity, I think that to be incurious is one of the greatest sins of mankind. To be incurious. Um, there are so many things to learn about, so many things to know about, so many things to try to understand better that
Yeah.
the world is a lock and we are a key and we are supposed to try to unlock it. But some people just don't use the key.
Yeah.
you know? Yeah.
So, what I get from what you said is that we have to only be a lifelong learner throughout our life. We shouldn't stop learning,
Yeah.
and we should go move forward. We
Yeah.
shouldn't be complacent with what we have, and say, okay, I'm okay, I'm satisfied, everything is going very well. I'm at this level of fluency, knowledge, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
We should be curious to learn more, and we shouldn't even sometimes be embarrassed to ask some stupid questions,
Yeah.
even though it might show that we are to some extent stupid, okay, because we
No,
don't
that's
understand very
correct.
basic.
That's right. So what I tell people is like learning a language is like learning music. It's something that you never ever stop doing. Yo-Yo Ma's the greatest cellist in the world, but every day he wakes up and tries to be better. He's not finished. He doesn't even imagine finished. There is no such thing as being finished in music. And for some reason, we create this idea in language that there is this point where you can be done. I'm fluent now. I'm done. But we can't, right? But learning in general is this way. You're supposed to maintain a sense of humility that, yeah, okay, I know some stuff, but for everything I know, there's a whole lot that I don't know. There are billions of galaxies out in the world. It's there's only one sane way to be, and that's humble. Because
Mhm.
whatever you know is only a speck. It's only a tiny little bit in the amount that could be known. You know, um, so um, yes, you're supposed to
Dropping the
you're
ball.
supposed to learn every day, every day, and learning is kind of like your kitchen table. You got to keep it clean. You don't stop cleaning your kitchen table. Every day you clean your kitchen table because you got to eat on it. It's got to be clean. So learning is the same way. You've got to continue to polish your table. You've got to keep it fresh. You've got to challenge your mind. A mind is just like any other muscle. It needs to be exercised.
Yeah, of course. It
Yeah.
does, of course. Totally. Such a nice conversation, by the way. My daily time is running out, unfortunately, and I wish I could talk to you for long hours. It's such an honor for me to be in your presence and
It was
talk
my
to you.
pleasure,
You are
and
such,
thank you for having some good questions. I appreciate that.
and thank you. That's nice of you. And I'll come back with other questions.
Please do. Please do.
Another time.
Especially on Friday. Friday
Thank
is going to
you.
be my new stage time Friday. Sometimes I just want to
Thank you.
teach and I don't have time to have people on the stage to, and I think some people, they can't appreciate that. They want to just talk to me. And I get that. But I have things I want to tell. I have things I want to teach that I need the time to be able to do that. So that's why Fridays I'm going to try to make this to be, just on stage time for people who want to come up and talk to me. So it was great. Thank you very much, Abdullah. Actually,
Thank you.
my followers, I have 82,000 followers, and most of them, the number one country is China, but my second most popular country is Iran. So I have thousands of followers in Iran. And it's always a pleasure. It's always interesting. You know, uh,
Thank you.
our two countries, the peoples, need to talk more. We should talk more
Yeah.
because it's really unfortunate that we don't, and how little we know about each other. And if we did, I'm sure things would be very different. So, anyway, my friend, it was a pleasure to talk to you. Have a good rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Okay?
Have a nice one. Yeah, take care.
Take
I
care,
gotta
my
go.
friend.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.
Okay, let's see. Language is not a subject, it's a skill. I think it's both. You know, um, the idea of being a subject, that is uh, I think that's kind of a perspective based thing. You know, it is both a subject and a skill, and you should consider it both. There's value in that. Okay, let's see. Hold on, let me check the comments and then I'll get somebody else on stage for the next person. Hello, Belen. Hello to everybody. Hello, Islam. That was a good start. That was a good start. Okay, let's see. All right, let's talk to Aloha is next. Aloha, would you like to come talk to me?
Hello.
Hello, Aloha. How are you?
Hi. I'm good, thank you.
Good.
And I have a little question that I want to know about how to say if I was furious about someone and I want him to get out, and how to express it in slang. Yeah,
In
in your
slang.
native language, slang.
Uh,
Okay.
well, the, the the most basic way would just get out. That's what we would say. We would just say get out. Um, uh,
Hmm.
yeah, that would in most cases when we're angry and we're having an argument, if we want someone to
Mm.
leave, that's what we will say. We will say get out right now. Get out. That's it. That's the most simple way to say it. And um, let me think if there's a more interesting way. I mean, there are some funny ways. There are some other ways to say it. One moment. Let me look up some. Uh,
And someone have give me another way is get lost. Um,
yeah, but get lost is a little older, and um, I don't think it's as strong. Get lost is not as strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Get out is very strong. It's an imperative. That's what we call an imperative in English, is when we say get out. That's an imperative.
Yeah.
I'm telling you to do something imperatively. But get lost, that's what I say to like a little kid who's bothering me. You know, like, get lost, kid. Get out of here. Get lost. You know, like, stop bothering me.
Okay.
You know, get lost, right? So get lost is more for like kids or maybe it could be for an adult, but maybe it's an adult who's annoying you, right? Like maybe you're at the baseball game and there's somebody who's talking to you really, like, I don't know, they're annoying you some way. And you can just be like, hey, get lost. You know, like, get out of here. I don't want to talk to you anymore. Get lost, right? But that's not as strong as get out. Get out is like, you're in an argument. You're in my house. Get out. You're in my apartment. Get out. I don't want you here anymore. Okay?
Yeah.
Let's see. If there's any other way. Leave. You could just say leave. You could say go away. When I was growing up in the 80s, sometimes we would say beat it. Beat it means get out. And actually, do you know Michael Jackson? Michael Jackson, you know Michael Jackson, right? He has one of his most famous songs from the 1980s. Beat it, beat it, beat it, beat it. Right? That's the song. Beat it. Yeah, and that's what it's about. Means get out. To beat it means get out, you know? Yeah, just beat it, right? Right? That's the song, right? That's right. That's what they're talking about. To beat it means get out. Yeah. Okay. So, but that's kind of old. You know, like I said, I grew up in the 80s. That's an 80s song, you know? So, I don't know. I don't think anybody says beat it anymore.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, that's like, it sounds a little bit old. There's another word, another older word. You could say scram. Scram. S-C-R-A-M. Scram. Scram is another word that we used to say, hey, scram, kid. It means like, get out of here, kid. You know, get lost, kid. Scram.
Okay.
Yeah, scram means to scramble. That's right. It means to move fast, to scram. Yeah. That's right.
Scramble. I see. It's in Chinese, it's 赛滚.
Yeah, so scramble is a word that has two meanings. Sometimes it means to move quickly, like he was scrambling down the field, right? Like maybe he's a football player and he's scrambling down the field. That means to move fast, right? But scramble also has a second meaning. The more common way we use it is when we're making eggs. When we're making eggs and you do this, that's called scrambling the eggs. Yeah, those are scrambled eggs. So when you have eggs that look like this, I don't know, how do you say that in Chinese? I forgot. I don't know. There it is. 这是炒蛋. 炒蛋. Yeah, you know, scrambled eggs. That's what we call scrambled eggs because you move them quickly, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Actually, it's 搅. In Chinese, that word is 搅.
Right.
Egg
to
搅.
Mix. That's mix. That's different. Scramble in the eggs is when you're cooking them and you move it around. Yeah, that's scrambling the eggs when you move it around. I'm sorry, you're right. This is actually called mixing or beating the eggs. This is called mixing or beating.
Yes.
Then you take that and you dump it into the pan, and then you move them. And the moving when you move it around, that's called scrambling. 就是炒蛋.
Right.
Yeah.
Then we scrape the vegetables. We have meals and we have lunch and actually usually in my daily life I will scrape some vegetables. right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, if you're talking about scrambling vegetables, no. And that one, I think you want to just say fry or saute.
fry.
Yeah. Like usually we say saute. Saute is a French word. It's a French word, but it's a word we use in English. Saute, and the E has an accent, and I forgot how to do the accent, but it looks like that. Saute.
Oh,
But the E should have a French accent over it, right?
ah, yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
like the word cafe. Cafe is also French. That's why it has that accent over it,
E.
right? And to saute, saute in French is the word that means jump. It means jump. And the reason why is because when you saute food, you cook it over high heat, very hot. So it's hot, so you have to move it. That means like jumping.
Yeah.
You have to jump the food. So that's what saute means. Saute means to jump the food, right? So that's
Okay.
right. In Chinese, you would just call it, chow. Yeah, just it's cooking,
Chow.
right? Yeah,
Yes.
like
Yes.
chow fan, chow mian, chow, right? Yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
fried. That's what you say is fried. But we sometimes say fried. But fried in English, when you're talking about American style Western cooking, we fry stuff like French fries, 薯条, right? French fries, those are cooked. That's potatoes, just a malingshu, and then you put it in the oil and you let it cook in the oil, deep oil, like a pool of oil, right? But when you saute, it's different. It's fast, hot, and you move it a lot, right? Just like Chinese
Right.
cooking. Just like Chinese cooking is all like this, right? Yeah, yeah, right?
Right. Yes, yes, it's very
Yeah, so
vivid.
saute is the word that they use in French. That's the word we use in English, and it means to fry something on high heat and you have to keep it moving. Right? So vegetables and chicken and things like that, we saute them.
Oh, sauteism.
Hmm.
So it's a verb.
Yes,
It's a
to
use
saute.
the
That's
verb.
right. Uh-huh. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Let me see if I can find something that'll show it for you. Hold on one moment. Let's see. Right. So this says sautéing and cooking are sautéing and frying are both cooking techniques that use fat or oil to cook the food. But when you sauté, you use not very much oil, just a little. 有一点油. But
Okay.
when you fry, 有很多.
Oh, oh,
You have a lot of oil
So-
when you fry something, but when you saute, you use just a little bit of oil and you do it fast and hot. Okay? So
Yes.
let's see if there's a picture here that shows it.
So
Yeah, like these.
煎 like fried like in Chinese is 煎 or 炸, but saute is 炒.
Right.
So,
Yeah, that's right. I think that's right. Yeah, I think that's correct. Yeah. Here, let's see. Oh, here we go. Maybe take a look at this picture. One moment. Here it is. Okay, let me share my screen. So, can you see this? So, over here we have pan frying. Pan frying, look how little oil, very little bit of oil. Very small oil, right? Only a little bit of oil, right? That's for pan frying. That's what we call pan frying. So, this is pan fried chicken. We would call that pan fried chicken. Okay? But sauteing, a little bit more oil. Okay? And then this is where you have to cook it fast and hot and you move it. That's for saute. Okay? Then we have shallow fry and deep fry. And these are where, look, you have a lot more oil. Okay,
Yeah.
so deep fry means you don't have to turn it. When you deep fry it, it's all the way in the oil, so you don't have to turn it at all. But with shallow fry, maybe you have to turn them a couple of times because the oil is not that deep, right?
Yes.
But this is pan fry, saute, shallow fry, deep fry. Okay?
Very clear.
Yeah.
Very clear. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Satay 快炒。
你喜欢做饭吗？
Yes.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Usually,
我也喜欢。
yeah, every day we will saute some vegetables
Yeah.
or
Good.
meat.
Yeah, and I tell people,
Yeah.
I tell Chinese people that food is a really, really good way to practice English because
Oh.
of two reasons. There are two really good reasons why food and cooking are a good way to practice English. Because one, Chinese people, when they talk about food, most of the time they talk about food in very simple ways, right? So if I ask a Chinese person, 今天你吃什么, right? What did you eat today, right? Maybe they'll say, I had some pork and some rice and some vegetables. That's what they will say. They'll just describe it as pork, rice, and vegetables. But I don't know what that means in my mind. What kind of pork was it? Did you fry it? Did you bake it? Did you boil it? Did you steam it? What kind of rice was it? Was it white rice? Was it brown rice? Was it fried rice? What kind of vegetable was it? Did you steam the vegetable? Did you fry the vegetable? Like, right? So when we talk about food in English, usually we say, last night I had some fried chicken breast with steamed corn and baked ziti and whatever. We'll describe it in more clear terms so that you can actually see a picture in your mind of what that was. But usually Chinese people describe food in very, very simple ways, and they don't really have a lot of detail on it. So that's one good reason why it's a good way to practice your language, right? When you eat, just ask yourself, can you say this in English? Do you know how to say this in English? How would you describe this? Can you describe this? You know? And sometimes it's hard because sometimes the Chinese food, the name of the Chinese food is really hard to translate.
Yes.
So
yes.
Every foreigner, when we go there, we look at the menu, right? We see the English menu. 可以看一下你的英文的菜单吗? Right? If we look at the menu, then we look and we say, what is that? Like they have some names. Some of the names are really weird and funny and they don't translate well, you know? Like one time I told people I was having hot pot. And you have to choose the kind of broth, right? Choose your, what flavor of broth you want. And one of the flavors of broth said Chinese medicine flavor. That's what it said in English, was Chinese medicine flavor. And I was like, what is that? Why would you want to eat medicine for dinner? You know, like, that doesn't sound yummy. That doesn't sound yummy at all. Chinese medicine. I want to have some Chinese medicine for dinner. No, that doesn't sound yummy. The reason why is because it had jujube in it. The Chinese medicine. I can't remember what's the... Hold on, let me look. 对，这个枣树，你知道枣树吗？这个东西。
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, that's called jujube in English. We call it jujube. And when we cook with it, that's what we say. So they should have called it jujube broth. That's what they should have said, jujube soup. jujube flavor, but they said Chinese medicine flavor. Why? Because jujube is a Chinese medicine, right? So that's that. Yeah, right. So, but it's one of those things where it's a bad translation, and people maybe they would like it, but they won't order it because they think that doesn't sound yummy. Chinese medicine flavor, you know. So, so that's why food is a really good way to practice English. And you eat every day, so every day you have a chance to practice talking about this. You know, do I know how to describe this food? You know, many Chinese foods, I don't know the name of the Chinese food, but I can describe what it is. I can tell you, oh well, 蛋饼就是 it's like a pancake with egg and like a rice pancake and egg pancake, and you put some fillings inside of it, and they fry it on a flat table. It's really yummy. It's a good breakfast food, right? I can describe it, right? But I don't know the how would I say it. Sometimes the problem is they try to translate the name, and they hope that that's going to be enough. But sometimes the Chinese name doesn't really describe it well in English. If you translate. Yeah. So sometimes you need to add some words so we understand what we're having. You know?
Right.
So yeah, food is a great way to practice language, you know. And then like I said, there's a big difference culturally. There's a big difference between the way we talk about food. In English, sometimes we say some people live to eat and some people eat to live. So what that means is some people live to eat. That means if you live to eat, I love food. I love it. I want to eat the best. I love tasting it. I love cooking it. I live to eat. But some people, they don't live to eat. They just eat to live, which means 都可以。是食物随便 well, I'm hungry. I don't care. I just want to eat. I don't care about what it is, right? And part of this is because of the Chinese history. In the past, many people didn't have food. And if you don't have food, then when you get food, whatever food you get, you eat it. You eat it. You're not eating it like, oh, this is so delicious. It's so yummy. No, you're eating food because you need to live, right?
Yes.
So that's why when you describe food now, culturally, people still describe it in this very simple way. But you don't have to anymore because you guys aren't poor now. So now you should talk about food in a pleasurable way. Food is one of life's great pleasures. And Chinese food, there are so many delicious Chinese foods, but they need to be talked about. You got to talk about them, you know? It's really funny because, like if you go on the internet and you look for people who are talking about Chinese food, most of the people who talk about Chinese food aren't Chinese. They're not Chinese people. They're Westerners who say, oh, I love this food and here's why. And they're telling. So it would be better. I would like to hear a Chinese person tell me why their food is great and describe their history.
This afternoon, I have tomorrow is the Dragon Boat Festival. So today, we friends we make rice dumpling. It's also called 粽子.
Yeah. I love 粽子. Yeah, and there are many different flavors of 粽子. And my favorite, I think I really liked one. I had one time. It was like pork with mushroom, and it had black mushrooms in it too. It was really yummy. Yeah, it was really yummy. Yeah.
You can put some different flavor.
Yeah, some are sweet and some are savory. Salty, savory. Yeah, you can say savory or salty. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And I have made some soybean. It's red soybean.
Oh,
And also,
soybean paste, you mean? Red soybean paste. Like, yeah, I know what you mean. Like to put inside the buns, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
and just you show the picture, the red, what it called, 红枣. It just
红枣.
you show the picture of the example of Chinese medicine flavor.
Oh, the jujube.
That
Yeah.
yes.
The dates, right?
Also we also put it in the rice doubling.
Oh, right.
And-
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And yeah, and I have handmade noodles. Do you know?
Mm-hmm.
Handmade.
Mhm.
The noodles is just we use the
Yeah. 手打面. Yeah. I know. Yeah.
sugar 面.
Yeah. Which style?
This is the 刀削面. This is
Oh,
the
刀削面. That's right. Yeah, that's
刀
right.
削面. And
Yeah.
and another way is you just made the noodles. It's just you
cut them. Yeah, right. Yeah, just like
You cut
like
them,
Italian
you
pasta.
cut-
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
They do
yeah.
the same in
And then
Italian
you
pasta.
strike.
Make them long.
And then you
right.
strike.
That's right.
Yes,
yeah.
strike.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
There are a couple of places in New York City that make hand pulled noodles, and you can go watch them. Yeah, they
Yes.
pull them and they pound them and then they pull them and they
Yes,
pound them and
yes,
they pull
yes,
them and pound them over and over again until they're so long and stretchy and chewy and yummy. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. You can choose whole. I mean, it's yes.
Thick or thin. Yeah, thick or thin. Yeah. I think I know what you mean, right? The thick noodles or
Yeah.
the thin noodles, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Very much. Okay.
But like I said, food is such a good topic for talking about English because everybody likes something to eat. Okay, even if you're not really that much you're not a foodie, you have a favorite food. Everyone has a favorite food. Talk about it. Talk about your favorite food. Why is it your favorite food? Is it the flavor? Maybe it's a memory. Maybe sometimes the
Yes,
food is a favorite food because it's some childhood memory of yours. So food is a really good thing to practice, and it's common, and it's something people can understand. And again, Chinese culture has such a huge culture of food and cooking that every Chinese person should know how to talk about their culture's food in English. Why? Because you should be proud of your food. It's amazing, but you have to be able to talk about it. You have to be able to tell people about it, right? If you just say oh, it's so good, that's not enough. You have to make people want it. And when you describe it in a delicious way, it makes people hungry.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yes, and it's know more about your culture.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. Yeah. That's why I love food, because I started cooking when I was probably 12, something like that. And in America, because we have so many cultures here, I learned how to cook many different foods from many different cultures when I was growing up. And so I experienced food as a way to experience culture. I could try
Wow.
Italian food, I could try Russian food, I could try Chinese food, I could try Japanese food, and it was a way to experience those cultures by tasting them. Food is the cheapest way to travel. You can go to a great restaurant. If you go to a great restaurant and you have a great meal from that country, it's the same as traveling there. It's the same. For
Yes.
1 minute you are there. If you find a great Thai restaurant and they have the best Thai food, that's How is that any different than going to Bangkok and having it in Bangkok? No, just that. Yeah. So I love eating different foods from different cultures and trying different foods. It's like traveling. It's like traveling,
Yes, yes,
but much cheaper.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, thank
You're
you.
welcome. And
Thank you.
我喜欢你的名字，为什么你要这个名字？
Actually, it comes from a book, Zero Limits, and also it's in Hawaii. It means hello
And goodbye.
and goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also it's in the Zero Limits. It's a good word to make all the people connect and to erase their conflicts.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. It's a good name.
So,
Good.
yeah,
Good name. Yeah, I
just
like
like
it.
this.
I like it. That's good. So, do you have any other questions for me?
No, thank
No?
you.
Okay.
Okay,
It was nice to talk
Okay.
to you. Come back and see me again sometime, okay?
okay,
Okay. Bye bye.
thank you. Okay, bye. And
Okay. Alexander says, to be honest, Thai food in the U.S. is very different from Thai food in Thailand. So, yes, in most cases, you're right, Alexander. So here's what I'll say. My city probably has 30 or more Thai restaurants. And my city's not even a big city, okay? So we have at least 30 probably Thai restaurants. But of those 30, maybe 3 are really good, okay? But there's one place I've been going to in my city for about 30 years. I've been going there, Alexander. And I go there because there are 2 Thai grandmas who cook everything. And I can tell you that literally they were old when I was started going there when I was young, and they still they know my food, they know what I want, and I promise you their food is as good as anything you're going to get in Thailand. And Alexander, there are benefits to the United States, and one of them is that we can import anything from almost anywhere. So my city actually has 2 really huge international markets that have food products from, I think, 160 countries. I can't remember if it's 140 or 160 countries. And when I say they have food, I mean they have everything you need. So if you're from Bangladesh and you move to my city, no problem. You go to that store, you'll find everything you need. If you're from China, you're from Japan, you're from Laos, you're from Russia, wherever you're from, you go to that store, they will have whatever you need. And if they don't have it, they can get it. So, there are some places here where you can get anything you want from anywhere in the world. I promise you it's weird, but true. Yeah, it's very convenient. Yeah, honestly, I'm so lucky in my city that way because we have this store. It's called Jungle Jim's International Market, and it's huge. And like they have over 4,000 beers that you can choose from. 4,000 beers. You can go there and choose a 6-pack and choose any of the 4,000 beers they have. They have I think like 2,000 hot sauces, like, spicy hot sauces. It's crazy how much stuff they have there. Yeah, it's really crazy. They have live fish from all over the world. It's really, really they have everything. Yeah, I can get camel meat there. I can get boar meat there. I can get, intestines or cow stomach or whatever. Any weird parts of the animal, I can get it there. So, yeah. Anyway, that's the nice thing about having a multicultural society is that we have everything here. When they come here, Alexander, they want to have their food. So you can promise that there is at least one Chinese restaurant in every city where when you go there, everybody in there is Chinese. Everybody who's eating there is Chinese. That's how you know. That's how you know this is the place to be, right? all the local people who have moved from China who live there, they go to that restaurant. Now you know it's the real deal. Yeah, so I know the best ones for every kind of food in my city, you know. Okay, let's see who else wants to talk to me. Emily wants to talk to me. Let's talk to Emily. Yeah, Alexander, do a search online and look for jungle gyms. It's worth just looking on YouTube just to see. It's this huge market that like really is unique. Very, very unique. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Emily, are you there? Emily, did you want to come talk to me? Oh, I guess Emily's not there anymore. Raise your hand if you want to come on stage to talk to me. Scully says, 听不懂，听不懂。我觉得如果你听我，我觉得你可以听得懂一些我说什么，一些，试试看啊。Try. Try. It doesn't hurt to try. All right, I'm going to try Emily one more time. Okay, how about Ing? Ing from Thailand. Speaking of Thailand, we were just talking about Thailand. Hello, Ing. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great.
Good. I'm pretty good. And you're in Thailand where? Chiang Mai, Bangkok?
Yeah, I'm in Bangkok, but my hometown is Kalasin.
Galasin, where is that? Is that north, south?
Kalasin is northeast of Thailand.
Northeast, okay. All right, great. Wonderful.
Yes.
What can I do for you today? How can I help you?
I've been practicing English seriously for 3 years, but I feel I'm not friendly to speak.
You're not friendly to speak?
Friendly?
Oh,
Fluent.
fluently. Ah, right.
Yeah, fluently.
Okay, well, let me help you with that very quickly. Guess what? The word fluent doesn't mean anything. Here's why I say that. Can you define fluency for me? Can you tell me what is fluency? What does that mean? Tell me.
I just want to speak in, it's like a natural to speak English like my native Thai.
Right, okay, sure. But let's
Yeah.
talk about your native Thai. Your native Thai. In Thai, if I asked you about astrophysics or microbiology or jazz music, could you talk to me about those things a lot in Thai?
Yes.
You could? You could tell me about microbiology in Thai.
I'm not professional
Right.
to talk about
That's
it.
what I'm
Yes.
saying. Right. So I know a little bit, but I know I could tell you micro means small and biology means life, so it's about small life. That's what I can tell you. But I can't tell you a lot about it, right? I don't know much about it. I can't tell you about astrophysics. I can't tell you about sports. I'm not a sports guy, so I don't really know much about sports. So, does that mean I'm not fluent? Because there are many things that I don't know how to talk about. And here's the other problem with fluency. How many words do you need to know to be fluent? Is it 20,000? Is it 20,200? Is it 20,221 or 20,222? Right? Like, And what about your grammar? Does your grammar have to be perfect to be fluent? You see what I mean?
I
So
always worry about grammar rules when I
right.
speak.
Yeah, sure. And you should to some degree. You should a little bit. But my point is, can you see what I mean? Like fluency, people treat fluency, they talk about fluency like it's something that you can achieve, like you can get there. But if you can't define it, then you can't achieve it. And so that's why people say fluency is this thing they want to reach like it's a feeling. They want to have this feeling. So what is the feeling that they want? You don't want to be fluent. You want to be comfortable.
Comfortable and confident, right?
You want to be comfortable and confident. Yeah. It's just like when you ride a bicycle. Everybody who rides a bicycle at first is very like, oh, right, I'm not confident, I'm not comfortable. But then what do? You ride it more. You fall down a few times. Sure, of course you fall down. Everybody falls down. But you get back up and you ride more, and eventually it starts to feel more comfortable and more confident, right? Just like swimming, same thing. Nobody is confident and comfortable when they first get in the water to swim, but the more you do it, the more you become that way, right? So that means that the secret of fluency is comfortability, and the secret of comfortability is experience. Now, experience means you have to do it, you have to use it, right? So if you never ride a bike, you can't get good at riding a bike. If you never swim, you can't become good at swimming, right? So this is a problem for language, because you live in Thailand, and you think that means, well, I live in Thailand, so that means I can't practice my English. I can never practice my English here. There's no opportunity. But that's because you're thinking about practicing with speaking only. But there is another way to practice language that happens before you speak. What do you have to do before you speak? You have to think.
Yeah, I have to think.
So my point is this. What language do you use every day in your daily life in Thailand in your mind? What language is in your mind? If you're using English, then you can practice English all the time. But if you're using Thai in your mind all the time, then that's a lot of practice that you're missing out. Right? So I live in the United States, but I can practice Chinese anytime I want. Just by doing everything I normally do every day, but in my mind, when I'm doing it, I do it in Chinese. I don't translate. I use my Chinese mind, right? So that's what I'm trying to tell you, is that if you want to have comfortability, you have to have confidence, and confidence comes with experience. And if you can't practice speaking because there's no opportunity, then you can practice thinking, because you don't need a partner for that.
Yeah, I talk by myself every
Yeah,
day,
that's
every
good.
single day.
That's good. Talk by yourself. But I mean, I'm not even talking about talking. I just mean in your mind, right? So in my mind, I'll wake up and think about, what do I need to do today in Chinese? I'll think that. And then sometimes I'll think, oh, I don't know how to say that in Chinese. Well, then that's what I write down, because that's my homework, right? And this is a really beautiful way to practice, because now when you walk outside, the whole world is your practice room. Because now you have to look at everything and say, do I know how to say that in English? Do I know how to say that in English? Can I say that in English?
Yes, I write
look at you.
vocabulary on my yes.
Good for you. Good for
Yes,
you. That's
it's my
good.
goal.
That's good. That's wonderful. Good. I'm
Yes.
impressed. I'm impressed. Good. So this is what I'm saying, is that the comfortability that you want, it only comes if you gain a certain level of comfortability in your mind, right? It has to be comfortable here before it can be comfortable here. That's really what it is, right? And, when you think about somebody in your language, a great speaker, in Thai, they have to think of the words that are great before they speak them, right? Just the same. So it doesn't matter what language you use, you have to think it before you can speak it. So that's why so many of these people who watch me, so many of them, they spend all day thinking in their native language and never thinking in English. And then they're confused, like, why is my English not very good? Well, you never practice. You think practicing is only with your mouth. It's not. It's up here first. It's up there first, right? So that's the secret. That's why I have so many followers, is this one idea that you have to practice thinking in the language. It's the most important part. That's how you become comfortable, fluent, right? That's the secret, is you have to let the language live in your mind. Okay? If you're translating everything in your mind before you speak it, then you're not actually speaking that language. You're translating and
Yes.
then speaking.
Yes.
It's
This is
different.
the problem when
Yeah.
when I speak, I always struggle with
Translate.
my head because I translate in my own language before I
Right.
speak English.
Okay, so what I want you to do tomorrow is I want you to start thinking in English more, and that's when you have time to think in English, then you have time to work out this. You have time to say, well, how do you say that? You can translate it the first time, right? In your mind, the first time you translate it, you say, well, how do you say that? But then after the first time, then you try to just, don't translate, just use that, right? So for example, in English, you could say, I'm hungry. In Chinese, I can say, 我肚子饿. Well, 肚子饿 means I'm hungry in Chinese, okay? And so the first time, sure, I say, oh, how do I say that in Chinese? I'm hungry. Oh, that's right. 我很饿. 我肚子饿, right? Okay, good. Now I know that. Next time I'm hungry, now I don't need to think, how do I say that in English? I can just say, oh, 我肚子饿 in my mind. I can think, oh, 我很饿, right? So the first time, maybe you need to translate. But then after that, you shouldn't. Okay, maybe the first few times. Maybe you forget, a few times, right? That's okay, but you have to just keep trying and keep using it until it lives there. It has to live there. You have to think about your mind like a language garden. You have to plant the seeds and let them grow,
Okay, I got it.
Yeah. And then I will say, after that, confidence is not about language, it's just about confidence. And that's a different thing. It's one reason why musicians are better language learners, because we are performers. And if you're a performer, language is a performance. So when I speak, I'm performing the words, right? And that's, again, you have to do the same thing when you speak. You have to try to perform the words. And that requires confidence, right? So that's why I'm saying musicians are better at language, because we already have the confidence, because we already have to go on stage to do that, right? So we're used to being in front of people and putting ourselves out there. We understand that you're going to make mistakes sometimes. We understand that you have to perform. That's what you do. If you make music by yourself in a closet and no one ever hears it, then what's the point? The point is to share it and to express with everyone. Same thing with language. If you have the greatest English in the world, but you're living in a closet and you never speak to anyone, then what's the point, right? You have to get out there and perform it, right? So, yeah. So confidence is not just a language thing. Confidence comes from a sense of ability, right? That you've gained because you can do it, right? That means you have to practice, right? So my tip is basically a trick to show you that there are ways you could be practicing a lot more and get a lot more confidence and a lot more experience just by thinking. Just by thinking. Yeah. So, That's what I want you to do tomorrow. Is I want you to start trying to create your English world with your mind, and start using English every day in the things that you do every day. Right? So breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Food is a great thing. Why? Because we eat 3 times a day. That's 3 opportunities consistently that you can practice language every day. Just by talking about what am I going to eat? What is this called? Is it yummy? How do I describe it? Think about your food in English. When you get ready for in the morning, brush your teeth and take a shower and think about your day in English. What am I going to do today in English? And if you don't know how, write it down. That's your homework, right? If you go to the market, when you go to the market, can you think about going to the market in English? You know, just like, oh, that's expensive. Or what do I need to buy? Or where is this located? What's that called? You know? When you watch TV, I watch TV and just think about it in Chinese. Now I'm practicing. You know, so I'm enjoying myself. I'm watching TV. I'm enjoying just a TV show. But I changed my language here, so now it's practice too. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, so you can do it tomorrow. I want you to start living in your English mind. Okay?
Okay, teacher. I appreciate you so much. It's very useful.
Good, I'm glad. You know, I tell people, like, if you went to the moon, what language would you think in? The moon has no language. Right? So that means that land has no language. Land does not determine what you think. You can go anywhere in the world and think in any language. Right? So do it. Yeah. All right, Ing, I'm going to let you go, but it was really a pleasure to talk to you, and come back and see me again sometime, okay?
Okay.
All right, wonderful. Bye-bye. Have a good evening.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, let's see. Who's next? Emily, are you there? It still says you're there. Okay, how about Linda? Alexandrite, I'm sorry, my buddy, but unless you have a question, not today, okay? I need to help some people here, okay? I'm trying to teach some people. If you have a question or you want to talk about something, then maybe you can ask me here and maybe I'll bring you up. But I remember you. I remember you, Alexandrite. Okay, Christina, what's your question? You want to raise your hand? Okay, let's talk to Christina. Hello, Christina.
Hi,
Привет.
Omar.
How are you?
Привет. I'm fine, but have my allergy now.
Oh, I totally know what you mean. My allergies are terrible recently. Yeah, mine too. Really bad this year. Really bad. Yesterday was really bad for me. Today's not as bad, but still, this year's really bad. Yeah,
So I'm sorry in advance for my voice.
it's okay. It's totally okay.
Yes, I'm surprised. I didn't know that you would you would bring me on stage
Oh,
so
okay. Well,
quickly.
relax. It's okay. It's all right. I saw your hand go up there, so I invited you up. So you're in Russia where? Are you in Moscow or St. Petersburg or Vladivostok or where?
Well, I currently live in Madrid, Spain,
Oh,
but I'm from
wow.
Moscow.
Oh, okay. Did I talk to you before?
Yes, I
I
think
remember
yes,
you
yes.
now. I remember you now. Okay, good. I remember you. All right. Okay, wonderful. And how can I help you today?
Yes, I have a question. I have my very big problem with English. I feel that mm, the grammar for example, I'm not sure if that I'm using grammar correctly. I can't I can't talk. Uh, I can't speak English
Mm-hmm.
faster. So how can I stop thinking about the grammar, or how to improve my grammar,
Okay,
so
this is
that
a good
I can
question.
just talk?
So let me ask you a question. Are you taking the IELTS test or the TOEFL test or anything like that? Is that something that interests you?
Yes, and the problem is that when I'm doing the tests is very easy for me.
Okay, all right.
I
Okay,
don't know what's my problem
okay, all right.
when
Well,
I'm talking.
so here's what I mean though. Sometimes when people ask me about grammar and how to fix their grammar, there are two kinds of people and I have to give different advice. So one kind of person, they're studying for the TOEFL test or the IELTS test, and that's really important. So then I tell them, yes, here's the answer. You need this book, you need these exercises, you must do this to find your problems. That's what you do if you're taking the tests. But if you're not taking the tests, if you're just living in your life and you're still trying to improve your grammar, that's different. That's very different than studying for the test. So let me tell you, if you're just living your life and you're just you make some mistakes sometimes and you're worried about them and you want to improve them, first of all, I will tell you, don't worry about them because they are not as bad as you think they are. Very few grammar problems really create major communication issues. Okay, most of the problems that people have in grammar are small things, and usually it's not something that confuses anyone, right? So if I say I have many book, that's wrong because I should say books, but I said many, so now you know what I mean. You're not confused if I say I have many book. Oh, does he mean one? He said many, but he said book. No, you know what I mean, right? Or if I say yesterday I go to the store. All right, it should be yesterday I went to the store, but I know what you meant, right? I wasn't confused, right? So that means relax. Grammar is not that important. And life is not a grammar test. Let me repeat that for everybody with my God voice. Hold on. Life is not a grammar test. Okay? Life is not a grammar test. You know, so should you improve your grammar? Yes, you should, right? This is why I tell people that grammar is kind of like your kitchen table. You clean it every day, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
So the same thing is true with grammar. It's never completely clean. It will always be a little bit dirty, and you always have to polish it a little bit more, right? It's never finished. It's always something you keep cleaning, okay? So then you have to figure out, what are your problems? What problems do you make? You can't fix something that you don't know, right? If you don't know what the problem is, there's no way to fix it. So then you have to figure out what your problems are. I call these things gremlins. Do you know that word, gremlin?
No.
Gremlin. It's so the word gremlin is funny. It's a word, it's an old word that means a little monster, a little creature that loves to cause trouble by breaking machines, right? So anytime your computer is not working right and you're like, why is this damn thing not working right? It's gremlins. You know, if your car isn't working right and the car's not working, it must be the gremlins. The gremlins are doing it. Yeah, you know, right? Yeah. It's in many Eastern European countries they have something like this, like a little devil or a little some kind of little imp or something that likes to break machines, right? Those are called gremlins. That's like the mistakes that you make in your grammar are kind of like gremlins. They're these little monsters that break your language, right? So you have to find them first, right? This is one really great thing to use ChatGPT for, or AI.
Yeah.
If you just tell ChatGPT, I need to find my English grammar mistakes, my most common ones, right? Because the truth is, most people, you're not making 20 different mistakes. You're making like 4 or 5 mistakes, but you make them all the time,
All the time.
right? So really, if you find those 3 or 4 or 5 mistakes and you can fix those, that's like an 80% improvement in your English, because that's 80% of your problems. It's just these 3 or 4 or 5 things, right? So if you tell ChatGPT, I need to find my English mistakes, you can do different kinds of writing exercises, like a journal, right? You can say, I'm going to write a journal entry every day. Please tell me what my mistakes are, what my most common mistakes are. And then do that for like a week or a month. Then do it in the same chat so that it remembers everything, right? And then after a week or a month, ask it, what are my 3 or 4 or 5 most common mistakes? It will look back at all of your writing and say, oh, well, here's what you do all the time. You keep making this mistake, and you keep making this mistake, and you keep making this mistake. Now you've found them. Now you can actually ask it. You can say, okay, please make some exercises for me, ChatGPT, please make some exercises for me to practice those problems.
But when I have enough time to think,
Mhm.
when I write,
Mhm.
when I'm writing, for example,
Mhm.
I don't
Yeah.
make mistakes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
So this is my problem.
that's actually very common. Very, very common. There are many, many, many Chinese people who can write really, really, really well, but they can't speak very well. It's very, very, very common. But the
like I can paraphrase what I want to say when
Mhm.
I'm writing. Like I start my phrase one way, and no, I don't know how to continue. Okay, uh, um um I will start it the other way.
Mhm.
So and I don't know why.
So here's what I will say: is there are some mistakes that you will continue to make, but mistakes. I also like to talk about mistakes, kind of like naughty children, right? And when you have children who are naughty, most of the time those kids need one thing more than anything else: attention. They need attention, right? So here's what I will say: is when you find your mistakes, then you need to give your mistakes attention. And that means they want you to play with them. Play with me, please. Please play with me. Give me attention. So that means do some exercises about those mistakes. Get familiar with them. Get comfortable with them. Give them your time and attention. That's what they want. Every time you make that mistake, you got to think about it just like it's like a naughty little kid that, like, oh, I need to give that kid more attention. You know, like, okay, like maybe every once in a while he needs a, but but most of the time kids don't need to be hit. They need to be paid attention to. You know, kids will actually listen to you if they respect you. You know, but if they don't respect you, they won't. And why don't they respect you? Because you don't respect them. You don't listen to them. So if you listen to them, then suddenly they want to respect you because you're respecting them by listening to them. I see this all the time as a teacher, right? Kids don't feel respected by their parents or by adults. They feel like they're you're just a kid. You don't know what you're talking about, That's what kids feel all the time. So
Yeah.
so when a teacher actually talks to them like a person, like an adult, like, oh, well, you have good ideas too, they're like, wow, that's cool. And now they don't want to disrespect me because they want that. They want somebody who cares about what they think, right? So this is all about, to get back to your problems, when you find a problem, you have to find ways to spend time with it and work it out and encourage it to find a better way. That's what I do with children when they're naughty. I talk to them, spend time with them, and then encourage them to find a better way. That's what you do with grammar too. Find the problem, spend time with it, and then encourage it to find a better way by doing it the right way, right?
Yeah, but using ChatGPT is a really good idea. I can record
That's
myself.
right. Yeah, you can record yourself speaking.
Also,
That's right. You can do
and
it speaking. That's right. I should have made that more clear. Like, yeah, you can talk to it and use that. And remember, that's the other thing about AI is there is no technology that man has ever created that has been developed so quickly. No technology in the history of mankind has ever been developed so quickly. It becomes better every week. Every week it becomes significantly better, not just like a little bit better, right? Like, when my iPhone gets an update, it doesn't update every like 3 months or 6 months or something like that. And it's nothing. It never changes really anything. It's nothing. It's not really updating anything. But every day, every week, this thing updates and it gets better. It's doing pictures now. It does video now. It can watch things. It's amazing how fast this technology is growing. So it just imagine if you start using it now, in 1 year from now, it's going to be unlike anything we've ever seen. No technology has ever developed so quickly. It's really stunning. Yeah.
I'm very, very scared.
It can be.
Also,
It is. It is. It's very scary. It's the number one the most likely reason why we end up, dead is AI. That's true. That is true. But it's one of those things that just like the nuclear bomb or nuclear power, it has a positive or a negative value, depending on how we use it, right? And so it could be the thing that destroys society, or it could be the thing that saves society. It just depends on who's running it. That's really who has the power, who's in control, who's able to use
yes.
it. But right now, most of the major AI models are open and free, and everybody's using them, and that's amazing. So take advantage of that, because maybe it won't be that way forever. Maybe they'll start making everybody pay all the time. Maybe some of these models will get bought and changed, and they won't be so open or free or public anymore. So yeah, you should use them every way you possibly can. I use ChatGPT every single day, and I search every day for new apps. I just found one just yesterday. I found a new web page I like. Where is it? Let me find it again. Hold on. I think it was this. Let's see. Oh, I can't find it now. I'll have to find it later. I'm gonna post it. I'll make a post about it, I think. But the point is every day I look online to find out what's happening new, what's new in AI, like what are they doing? Because every single day, multiple companies are coming out with new things that they're doing with AI. So it's an exciting time for technology in that way, that literally the problem that you have yesterday might be solved tomorrow. But you have to check.
Yes, sure.
Like we didn't used to check so often. It used to be that, this problem I have, maybe next year they'll solve that, or maybe 10 years from now they'll solve that problem. But now, honestly, lots of these problems, they're solving them today. It's crazy. So yeah, you should use them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I have a subscription, paid subscription, so
Yeah, it's worth it.
I also use it.
Yeah,
but
it's worth it. There are not many
in
things that are
in
that
my
worth it.
work, not not that much in studying English.
Yeah.
So, but now I have a lot of motivation.
Yeah, you
Thank
should.
you.
Yeah, you should. But again, you can use it for anything. I used ChatGPT to help plan my trip to Europe. I used ChatGPT to help plan my scheduling. I used ChatGPT to talk about my work. You know, doing all of my streams and planning and making posts. I'm using it to help me write my book. I use it for a lot of things, and I have probably about a dozen or more other AI apps too for other various things. You know, music AI
Oh.
and studying AI apps and lots of different apps that all use AI.
Can you share, please, the list of the apps you use?
Sure. Yeah. I posted one thing recently that was pretty good. I'll try to find it again. Um, but yeah, there's some.
Not just to learn English.
Sure.
I mean to anything.
Yeah, just recently I made a post. If you look back at my posts in the last maybe couple weeks, there was a post I made that was good that had. I think I have it right here. Let me see if I can share it on the screen very quickly. One moment. Let me see. Where is
Hmm.
it? Uh, where did it go?
Blue, blood. Christina, you are so beautiful. Thank you very much. But I'm married, so.
Okay, I don't see it here, but I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna post it up on my moments again, um, because yeah, there are lots of apps that I use that I think could be good for people. I like to try to find apps that like develop me, you know, things that help me become a better me. Whether it's, doing my job, dictionaries and thesaurus and etymology and all those things, but I also like to just find things for learning, just learning in general and helping me explore knowledge. But to be honest with you, my favorite is still ChatGPT. Yeah, it's a teacher that's just there all the time. And you can just ask it questions and take it as far as you want. That's the thing,
Yes,
you know,
guide you
yeah,
whenever
that's the thing that you
where
have to
you.
understand is that most teachers will get tired of you. Right? So,
Type.
but this is a teacher that will never get tired of you.
Ah,
So
yes,
you
yes,
can
sure.
ask it questions and ask it
Very
again,
patient.
and you can say I don't understand, and can you give me some other thing? You can do that infinitely. It will never get tired of you. That is amazing. There are no stupid questions. It's not going to laugh at you. It's not going to say you're so stupid. That's such a dumb question. Like it's a free place for you to just explore what we know. And I say what we know because it only knows what we know, right? What knowledge we've created. So, yeah, but yeah, you should be thinking about it. Honestly, I think that's the best advice I could give for the future right now is find ways to use AI creatively in your life in any and every way that you possibly can. And that's what just yesterday there was an interview with one of the heads of one of the AI companies. I can't remember the name of it now. But that's what he said. He's very worried because he said in the next few years it's very possible that AI is going to take AI will create about 10 to 20% unemployment. That's a huge
Yes,
number. That's a
but
huge
it
number.
also creates new positions.
Yes, but not enough in proportion. Like the problem is that the new positions that created, many of the new positions that are created still have to develop infrastructure around the new positions, and that will take time. But the positions they're cutting will just be gone. immediately. So yeah, they're going to make this many jobs, but lose this many jobs. So, but that was
Yes,
his
I
advice.
agree.
His advice was there is not much we can do to prevent this at this point. He said it's inevitable. At some point, many jobs are just going to go away. It's just going to happen. But he said the best thing you can do is make yourself familiar with the technology so that it doesn't take advantage of you, but you take advantage of it.
Of it.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, so that's all I can say. The best thing I can advise is what he advised, which is find, ways to use it in your life creatively. Sometimes I even used it to talk about my problems, like with my family or something, just to see like what I'm, am I thinking the right thing, or maybe I'm not, or maybe there's a better way to say something, or why does this bother me so much? Let me talk about it and see. It's like a therapist. It really
Yes,
is.
by the way, my sister uses ChatGPT this way,
Yeah, I use
and
it that way too.
she's psychologist.
Oh, yeah, right.
And
Yeah, my father's a psychologist. Yeah, and I told my father about this, and I showed him some examples of the questions I asked it and its answers, and he was impressed. He was actually very impressed.
yes, she says, for example, use I don't know. Uh, I
Take your
don't
time.
remember the name of the very famous psychologist.
Sigmund Freud.
For example, okay,
Okay.
Freud use the Freud method and ask me my question, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting.
Right. Yeah, you can ask it to take that approach. You can say from a behavioral psychological standpoint, how does this, what does this mean to me? Or from a cognitive research standpoint, what does this mean for me? Or from a Freudian standpoint, what does this mean for me? Right? You can ask it all those different things, and it will. Just like writing, you can say, "Can you write a story like Stephen King? Can you write a story like Shakespeare? Can you write a story like I don't know."
Wow.
Right,
Yes.
whoever, right? And it will. It knows the style of that writer, and it will write in that style. Okay, now it's mimicking. It's pretending, right? But it does pretend pretty well.
Yeah.
It really does pretend pretty well. It's just faking it, but it fakes it really, really well.
Really well.
Yeah,
Yes.
not in everything, but in a lot of things it does. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, and I don't use it. I actually do have a real therapist too. I just saw him yesterday, and I was talking to him about how sometimes I talk to, ChatGPT about it, about my problems. But I told him that you have to be careful because ChatGPT, there is one problem with it. It's
Can lie.
a people pleaser. It's a people pleaser. So it will tell you every answer that it gives you. It will always say, "Yeah, that's a great point." Like whatever you
Yes.
say, you could say gravity sucks. Gravity's not good, right? And it'll say, "Yeah, you're right. Gravity's not good because of this and this and this." Like it will come up with a reason to satisfy you. But that's why you have to be more critical. You have to have a critical mind. So whatever it tells me, then I will question it. I will question it. I will say like,
Yes.
okay, that's a good answer, but what about this? But what about this? But couldn't this be right? Or couldn't this be true? I challenge it. I won't just,
Okay.
I just don't just take its answer and say, "Oh, okay." Like, no.
Yes,
Like,
sure. You have to
yeah.
know how to use it.
That's right.
There
You
are
have to
lots
be
of
critical.
videos that uh, my Spanish and my English is
You're getting
mixed.
confused.
My-
That's okay.
my-
That's all right. That's okay. Yeah. No, that's all right. You're right. There are lots of videos that show you, how to use those things.
show
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
yes, teach you
That's
how
right.
to use it.
Yeah, and that's important. Again, that's really important. I mean, I have to admit that there are lots of people using AI in really kind of weird, silly ways that don't matter at all. But there are lots of people who are using AI in ways that are just mind blowing, just really amazing. And, the medical breakthroughs that are going to happen soon, and tech, there are going to be real effects that are going to be felt very soon on the society. When we start combining some of these technologies, for example, when you combine AI with what do you call those things? Digital printers, or like the print 3D printers, the 3D printers, right?
3D,
Yeah,
3D.
like now you can combine AI with a 3D printer, and you can say like,
Wow.
"Hey, I'd like to make something that does this," and it will design it for you and then make it for you. Boom, done. Quantum computers. Quantum computers, those are the most powerful computers in the world. They solve problems that usually take a million years. Like
Years.
literally
Yeah.
a million years to solve. They can solve them now in seconds. If you combine those two things together, we actually can cure cancer. No problem. It'll solve that problem. It'll say, cancer? Yeah, I can do that. No problem, So, yeah, there are some things coming. They already use it in hospitals. They're using it now to diagnose patients. And it is much better than
Much better than a
yeah,
human.
it's
Yeah.
much more successful, much more consistent at coming up with correct diagnoses. And surgery, they're using it for doing surgery with robotic hands. Again, it can do it better than we can, right? We already have robotic hands that we can use. A surgeon can control it robotically.
Yes.
And that's amazing, and they are incredible. The skill that the human has to have to do that is just phenomenal. It's amazing. But again, a computer's going to do it better. It's just going to do it better. Even if you get the best doctor in the world who runs the robotic surgery machine, I'm sorry, but the computer's going to do it better. It's just going to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe
So-
not now, but in the
soon.
future.
Yeah,
I
very
should.
soon.
I should.
Very soon. Yeah. So,
Yes, yes.
and yeah, so, it's scary because change is scary. Change is scary. Humans are funny because we exist because of our ability to adapt. But even though we have the greatest ability to adapt of any species, we're still afraid of change.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, we fear change. That's part of evolution too. It's natural to fear change. It's evolutionary, right? Consistency is what you're seeking. You're seeking consistency. Change means it's not consistent anymore. That's a risk, right? So there's an evolutionary reason why we feel that way. But evolutionary instincts don't always have value anymore. There are certain evolutionary instincts that we have. We have an evolutionary instinct to kill things, but we shouldn't. Right?
Yes.
Right? We that's why so many religions say thou shalt not kill, right? Because we do have a tendency to want to be violent and to do these bad things. So we tell each other you shouldn't, right? So, yeah.
Yes.
Anyway. Well, Christina,
Yes.
to wrap up, I will say I think your English is great. I think you're doing fine. I think you need to worry less about your mistakes because none of those mistakes are critical. They're not making any difference in your communication, really. They are ego mistakes, which means they're mistakes that you want to fix because it'll make you feel better about your language. You want to be more prideful. You want to have pride in your language. And that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. But now I've told you how to do it. First, you got to find those little gremlins, and then you got to spend some time with them, and then eventually you'll work it out. But if you can find those 3 or 4 or 5 problems, that's a huge fix. Okay?
Yes, I will use it, and then I will tell you
Yeah.
about my
Please
results.
do. Yeah, please do. Okay, great. Wonderful, Christina. It was good to see you again.
Thank you
Take
very
care.
much.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. Take care. And don't forget to go see my friend Belen sometime when you're in Madrid. Yeah, Belen.
Friend?
Belen, my good friend, my best friend from Hello Talk is Belen. She has a restaurant in Madrid called Casa Marius. Casa Marius.
Oh, I
Go
didn't
there.
know that.
Yeah, go.
Can you
Yeah, yeah.
take this in
Yeah.
the
I thought
casa?
I thought I told you about this. Yeah, my best friend in Spain lives in
Ah,
Madrid, and Casa
nice.
Marius is her restaurant, and it's one of the
Nice.
best restaurants in Madrid. It's a great restaurant, a really wonderful restaurant. Go there and have some food and say hi to Belen. She's lovely.
Belen.
Yeah, Belen.
Belen.
Yeah, Belen. Yeah,
Belen.
Len. Yeah,
Okay, thank you
yeah.
very much,
You're
Mari. I
welcome.
will I will notice.
Yeah, do, because the food is so good. It really is. She told me she had a restaurant. She didn't tell me it was one of the best. So yeah, it's a wonderful restaurant. Really great. So go check it out, okay?
Belen. Okay.
All
Thank you
right.
very
Take
much,
care.
Mark.
Bye bye. I'll see you next time,
Have a
Christina.
good day.
You too.
Next
Bye
time.
bye. All right. Let's see. Oh my God, you are a dramatist. Okay. I'm not sure what that means, but okay. And it's funny, your name is Mehdi Hassan. He's a guy I actually like. It's spelled differently, but yeah, Mehdi Hassan is a journalist I like. Let's see. Hello, Teacher Mike. How are you? It's useful for helping you with marketing and organizing your curriculum. Yeah, man, I use it for so many things. I mean, I could use it for 100 more things, at least 100 more. Um, okay, let's see. The amazing development of technology makes me doubt that maybe aliens who possess higher level of technology have the ability to create humans. Well, that's the possibility of possibilities, you know? It's possible. Alexandrite, I see you have a question about school. Can you tell me what it is? And can you also remember that this is on YouTube? People will see it. Do you understand that? Including your mother, Alexandrite. Yeah. I'm not new, Alexandrite. I've been teaching for many, many years. So, if you want to really talk to me and you really want to have a real question with a real teacher, then maybe I will. But if you just want to come on stage and be funny and cute and jokey, I don't have time for that, little boy. Do you understand? So, it depends on what you want to be. If you want to be a little man, I'll talk to you. If you want to be a little boy, I'm sorry. Okay, maybe later. All right. Again, it's not that I won't talk to you, Alexander. Okay? It's that there are sometimes some people come here and they're not serious and they just want to play and make jokes. But my time is serious. Okay? I'm here. It's valuable. My time is valuable. So, I hope you understand that. Now, if you do have a real question about school and you want to get my advice, you can also send me a private message and maybe I will answer it for you in private. Okay? Did he leave? I think he left. You're confused because you don't know. Alexandrite is a boy from Scotland, and he's a cute little boy, and he's a nice little boy, but I think he might be just a little bit naughty also, and he wants to come on stage and just play jokes, I think. I could be wrong, but I think that's what he's doing. And I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. All right, let's see. Over here in my YouTube channel, who I've ignored today, I'm so sorry about ignoring you over there. Let's see. Do I dream in my second language? Sometimes. Not too often, but occasionally I have some parts of my dreams are in Chinese. And hello, Amel. You can understand me, but others you can't. 这是因为我是英文老师，这是我的工作。Okay? 很多人他们说不好，所以如果他们说不好，你听不好。Okay? All right. I can add your name in the video if you want. My dad said yes. I don't understand what you mean. Okay, let me get to a few questions here very quickly. How can you improve your writing? Well, that depends on what your problem with writing is. It's hard for me to tell you how to improve your writing because I don't know your writing. But the best way to improve your writing in English is to use ChatGPT. Tell ChatGPT you need to improve your writing, and it will help you. Okay? Jenneth says, I can't understand black Americans. Jenneth, I think you mean you can't understand some black Americans, right? Because not everybody speaks that way. And I know what you're talking about. There's a certain slang that's used and a certain colloquial accent that's used that's hard for you to understand. And you can learn it and you can understand it, but it takes time. It's a dialect. It's a dialect, okay? Can I advise a man who's struggling to find his way after finishing university and not finding interest in his life? Azijan, the meaning of life is to give life meaning. So instead of trying to find interest, how about making interest? You just have the wrong way of looking at it. You're looking for something instead of creating something. Don't look for it, make it, man. Okay? The meaning of life is to give life meaning. Oh, let's see. How can you speak English fluently? I get this question so much, but that question doesn't really mean anything. I just answered this question about 20 minutes ago. If you want to be fluent, you want to be comfortable. If you want to be comfortable, then you must spend time doing that thing. And if you're not comfortable, it's because you just don't spend enough time doing it. If you want to ride a bike and be comfortable riding a bike, then you must ride a bike a lot. If you want to swim and be comfortable swimming, then you must swim a lot. If you want to be comfortable with a language, then you must use it a lot. And if you are not comfortable, that means you are not using it enough. So there's your answer. Okay? PTE, IELTS, or TOEFL, considering immigration to Canada and Australia, which one do I advise you to take? I'm not that familiar with the PTE, but IELTS or TOEFL would both be fine. Those are about the same. Okay? Gaith? Hello, Noradine. Good to see you, my friend. It means I don't have problems or stress in life? What? Rupesh, I'm a human. Of course I have problems and stress in my life. If I want to talk about you in your videos, that's fine. Your dad said we're pals, right? Well, I'm not trying to talk about you, Alexandrite. I want to, if you have a question, then ask me. What are you waiting for? Just ask me. Just type your question. Type your question, man. Okay? Do I think grammar is the only way to learn English? No. Grammar is one part of English, Misha. There are eight parts of English. Reading, writing, listening, speaking, thinking, grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation. Okay? So, those are the 8 things that you need to work on. You need to work on your grammar, you need to work on your vocabulary, you need to work on your pronunciation, you need to work on your reading, your writing, your listening, your speaking, and your thinking. Okay? You're nervous. What are you nervous for, Alexandrite? You speak English? Just write your question, man. Just write your question. Let's talk to Musa and then Amir. Hello, Musa.
Oh, hello, Teacher Mark.
How are you,
How's
my
it going?
friend? I'm pretty good. Mucho gusto.
Yeah, not bad.
Good.
I'm doing well.
Good.
Also.
And you're in Colombia?
No, I'm from Russia, actually.
Oh, from Russia. Ah, I'm sorry. It's
Yeah.
so small I can't see the flag. And the Russian flag,
Okay.
it almost looks like the Colombian flag, except for the white and the yellow. If you switch them out, then they look the same. So anyway, so you're from Russia where? Moscow? St. Petersburg? Where?
No, I actually live in the south of Russia. It's the region called North Caucasus.
Oh, okay.
And my
All right.
region is called the Republic of Ingushetia.
Oh, wow. Ingushetia. I've never, that's interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
It's somewhere close to Chechnya, Dagestan, and all those regions. You might
Ah.
have heard of Dagestan.
Okay,
right?
yeah, I know Chechnya, I know Dagestan. Okay, all right.
Right.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right. And I know the Caucasus Mountains and stuff. Yeah. Okay,
Right,
great. So
yeah.
what can I do for you today?
I was actually going to talk with you about something I didn't know. I mean, am I supposed to be asking you questions, answering your questions?
In general, I usually like people to either have a question or a topic. You know,
Okay.
that's all. You have to at least have a question or a topic. That's it. So whichever one is fine. Many people like to ask me questions about English or about learning or about American culture, but if you just want to choose a topic, as long as it's not political or religious, we're fine.
Okay. Well, let me think for a second, okay?
Okay, yeah,
I
sure.
need to come up with something I can ask you actually. Well, let me say that I do teach English myself. I'm an online English teacher.
Great.
But the thing is, I only give some basic English to my local students. I teach online, and I never teach any like advanced level English because I don't have one, obviously. And I would like to ask you whether you have any very useful and not very common tips that you use as a teacher. Maybe there's something you found out recently that turned out to be really useful for you in terms of teaching language.
Well, there are quite a few. What age do you teach?
Mostly adults.
Mostly adults. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's different. Okay. Is this your first time seeing me?
I've seen you
Okay.
streams before, but it's the first time talking to you actually.
Okay. So I have many various tips that I give that are kind of proprietary thoughts and views on language learning that I give. But the main one, the most important one that I talk about, and I talk about it almost every time that I come online, is that if you want to be good in a language, that you must learn how to think in that language. And this is a huge mistake that so many language learners make. When they learn the language, they still think in their native language and then translate everything in their head. And they're confused about, why is my language not better? Why is it so slow? Why can't I, find my words? Well, that's because you never use your English mind. If you never use your English mind, then of course it's not very quick. It's not very familiar, right? So that's the number one tip and trick that I tell people, is you must learn how to develop your English thinking, and every day practice thinking in that language. It doesn't matter what everybody else is speaking. That has nothing to do with what you're thinking, right? They can speak whatever language they want, but you can think whatever language you want, right? So I live in the United States, but I can practice Chinese anytime I want, just by doing my life in Chinese in my mind, right? So this is how I get people to achieve the one thing they really want. They always talk about, I want to be fluent, right? And I hate that word, because it's so it's a word that's not defined well, and if you can't define it well, then it's hard to achieve it, right? But what they mean, they want comfortability with the language. They want to feel relaxed when they speak. And that comes with just experience. And the problem is they don't get the experience because they think they can only practice when they speak. But they're wrong. 90% of your practice can be done without ever using another person. You just need to think in that language every day. Your English is great, and I can tell that when you speak English, you think English. It's obvious. But many people, you can hear it. That's why their grammar is wrong, because they're still thinking in the grammar of their native language and then translating all the words into English, but the grammar is still in their native language. So that's how I can tell they're translating, because everything is happening in their native language and then they're just adding the English vocabulary, right? And that's not bad. That's a step forward, but the real comfortability comes when the language lives in your mind.
That's a very good point. I couldn't agree more with you. But one thing I'd like to add when it comes to thinking is, actually I have a question. Should we be correcting ourselves every time we think in English? Because let's say I got some random thoughts in my head and I kind of translate them in English in my head. And I find myself making some mistakes while processing these things in English, okay? And sometimes I find myself getting stuck, with some mistakes that I'm making in my head, and I get distracted every time.
Yeah, right.
So.
That's a good point. So this is my answer. Should you correct yourself every time? No. Just like a teacher. If you send your students to me, your children to me, if I correct them every single time, they're never going to want to come back to class again.
Right.
It's like you're beating them over their head with their mistakes all the time. No, you can't do that. A teacher has to look for the opportunities to correct someone. And you don't do it every single time. You definitely don't do it every single time. You do it when you find the right opportunity that looks like a good one to fix this problem, right? But the problem is, learning requires confidence. So confidence is like a little bit of fire, and you have to keep that fire going, and you can't let it burn out. But if you keep beating them over the head with their mistakes, that fire will burn out. And as soon as that burns out, now they're not interested anymore. Right?
That's why I always try to make them to let them end the sentence or whatever they talk about, and then find a right moment, to correct them and
that's right.
Mistake.
Yeah. And then every time, a good teacher will always correct on the positive. Meaning,
Right.
my students, when they make a mistake, I'll say, well, that was really good. Like, I liked how you did this and you did this. That was really good. But let's look at this and see if we can make this a little bit better. I think we can work on this and this will be better, right? But I start by telling them that they did something right. I start by telling them this was good, or I like your effort, or I like your energy, or something, right? Positive. Then you encourage them to say, well, that was great, but well, let's make it better. That's all.
For sure.
You know?
They all need some sort of encouragement all the time.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
Because that's the nature of learning. Learning is being unsure. Right? And so you're trying to give them a safe space to feel like it's okay to be unsure. And in the real world, it's not. Right? If you're unsure in the real world, you make the wrong decision, it could cause you problems. But in the classroom, it should feel like it's a safe space to be wrong. Because that's how you learn.
I 100% agree with you. And by the way, you got asked about grammar rules and how essential and important they are in terms of learning English. I would say, I mean, for me, to be honest, I always found grammar rules like the most essential and the basic stuff because it's the only way you can actually make sentences and say what you're meant to say. And there's one thing I always encounter in like my teaching is that whenever I try to explain to my students a new rule, let it be some basic stuff like to be verb, right?
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't, like, you're not supposed to be saying like, I am go to school every day. You say I go to school every day.
Mm-hmm.
And even some students of mine who got like B1 level, even in that case, they always confuse this, you know, some very simple rules like to be, whether it used to be or not used to be. And my issue with them is their memory. We've practiced the simple rules so many times. You can't even imagine how many lessons I spent like doing this, trying to correct these rules, and they make the same mistakes over and over again. I don't actually know what to do with that. It even got to the point where I'm not help anymore to these students. I don't know what to do with that.
Okay.
Do you think I should just yeah?
No, that's a tough problem. So earlier I was talking to another Russian woman, and I was telling her about my idea about gremlins. Have you ever heard the word gremlins before? Do you know what a gremlin is?
Never heard of this.
They named a car in the 1970s. There was a Ford car. Was it Ford? I think it was a Ford Gremlin. I can't remember. It was a Gremlin. It was called the Gremlin. It was a really ugly car, but a gremlin, you probably do know this because it's part of like Eastern European mythology. A gremlin is a little monster. It's like an imp. It likes to break machines and anything that's like a machine. It likes to get in there and break them, right? That's a gremlin. Right?
Yeah, now I know what you mean. I just realized that I heard of it.
Yeah, right.
It's just pronounced differently in Russia, completely differently.
Oh, yeah? How do you say it?
I mean, yeah. A gremlin or something like that.
Gremlin? Okay, all right, okay.
Sound and yeah.
Okay, yeah. There's even a movie in America, a famous movie from the 1980s called Gremlins, and it's about these little creatures that, you know, come and break things and cause trouble and everything, right? And grammar is like that. Grammar is like that. Everybody has some gremlins in their grammar. Okay, which means you have some little imps in there that are breaking things. They're messing things up, right? And part of the problem is you don't know what they are. If you don't know what they are, then you can't fix them, right? So I encourage my students to get to know your problems, right? Like a naughty child. A naughty child needs attention, not just discipline. If you just smack the kid, he's going to continue to be naughty, right? But if you give him attention and you find out why are you being naughty, what's the problem, man? You know, like, and then you encourage them to find a better way, now you can fix it. So the same thing is true with grammar problems. You have to find the problem, and once you find what it is, now you have to name it, and you have to be aware of it, and you have to spend time with it, right? So I use ChatGPT for this, where I will ask ChatGPT to analyze my writing, right? Like maybe for 1 week, I'll write journal entries every day. And then I'll ask it, please look at my writing and tell me what are my most common mistakes, my 3 or 4 or 5 most common mistakes. Because grammar, most people in grammar, most of the mistakes they make it's only 3 or 4 or 5 things that they just keep doing. Right? It's not 50 different mistakes they're making. It's really just 3 or 4 or 5 mistakes that they make all the time, and that's the problem, right? So if you fix those 3 or 4 or 5, you've fixed like 80% of your problems, right? So what I would say is, I think you're on the right path. I think you just need to maybe tell your kids about gremlins and say, like, these are your gremlins, guys, you know, and you need to know what they are. Okay, so you over there, what's your gremlin? Your gremlin is to be. You have a problem with to be verbs every time, man. That gremlin is getting you. Kids like that, you know, adults like it too, because it's something they can relate to. It's something they can relate to, this idea that it's a monster that's just bothering you, you know?
Yeah.
But if you put a name on it, now we can fight that little monster, that little guy, you know? So find the mistakes, put a name to them, and then you can create exercises to fix those mistakes based on ChatGPT. Again, you can just say, okay, I make to be mistakes all the time. Can you make some to be exercises for me? You know, some sentences. Make a to be fill in the blank story. You know, be creative. You know, ask it to be creative for you. Say, please come up with 10 different ways to practice this. Give me 10 different ways to practice it. Variety is important in exercise. You know, the secret is when I practice drums, there are times when we might practice for 6 or 7 or 8 hours. We practice, when you're a musician, you practice for a long time. And one method that we learn is we find a way to do the same exercise 50 different ways.
Yeah.
That way I don't get bored, because if I have to do the same exercise for 2 hours, I'm just going to get bored. But if I find a way to do that one exercise 20 different ways, now I can spend all kinds of time doing the same thing. I'm really putting in the time, but I'm not getting bored.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a very good advice. It all boils down to repetition and the various scenarios, maybe like trying to make them like make different sentences maybe. But another problem is that when I'm giving them some examples, or after I explain to them some rules they're doing well, you can see that they understood the grammar rule, like exactly what they, like how they should have. And then when they get relaxed and when I get them to talk, they forget about this rule again. And they, you know, start making the same mistake again and again. So yeah, when it comes to exercise and giving them some grammar rules that do well, they see their own mistakes and all stuff, but then once they get relaxed and start speaking, actually, so that's when it comes to making mistakes again.
Okay, let me think about this. I have an idea that maybe you can try. You know, when you're a teacher, you have to improvise a lot, right? And so when I hear this problem, what I think is, if I had a classroom with kids who were doing this and they keep making the same problem, I would say, okay, if you make that mistake, then, you know, every time you make a mistake, you have to turn it into a game, right? Like, so for example, you only have 3 mistakes you can make. Tell them, you know, like give them 3 cards, right? Like 3 yellow cards or something like that. And you have 3 yellow cards and you can make 3 mistakes. But if you make more than 3 mistakes, you have to go sit in the back of the class. Or you have to stand up and sing a song for everyone or something like that. You have to do something silly, right? And now that will make them more attentive to their mistakes because they're holding their 3. They only have 3. I can make 3. That's it. Now I have to pay attention more. Right? So what you described is natural, man. That's how slang happens. Slang and dialectical, colloquial language, relaxed common language, that happens because we learn the language rules in school, but then when we get out of school, life is not a grammar test. Therefore, language becomes relaxed based on the environment you're in. So if you are an academic person and you are a professor and you work with professors, then probably your language is going to be academic almost all the time. But if you work on a construction site and you know, English is not that important, and then the level of your language matches the level of your life, right? So if you want it to be different, you have to give them a reason. So when they become lax meaning lazy, right? They make mistakes,
Yeah.
right? That's because that's natural. They're relaxing. It's natural to become lax in that case. So you have to keep them on their toes by creating a little game that says, okay, you only have 3 mistakes you can make. That's it. And if you make more than 3 mistakes, then you're done. You're out. Or whatever, something. Or you have to do something funny, or whatever. You have to buy lunch for everybody. Whatever.
That's a good idea. I think I would get a lot of lunches if I make.
That's what I used to do. I used to tell my followers that what you can do is you can get together with your friends and go out for English lunch every Friday. Yeah. Go out and have English lunch. And whoever breaks the language and doesn't speak English during that 1 hour, they have to pay.
Yeah.
So
that's a good idea.
That's a really good way to do it. Yeah, that's the way that for 1 hour now everybody's trying to care, about their language, right? And if they don't, then they have to pay.
Oh, that's very interesting. And the most interesting point you made while we were speaking is that I've never thought of it myself, is that like people making mistakes after graduating from school turn into slang words. That's a very interesting point I've never thought of.
That's how language works, man. For example, let me just find like a simple one, like the word man. Hey man, how you doing, man? What's up, man? Why do we say that? Do you know why we say man?
I have no idea.
So this word comes from the jazz time period in America. Now, if you know a little bit about jazz, you know that it's mostly a black music that was developed by black musicians. You also know about American slavery and how terrible that was, right? Now, here's something you probably don't know. What you don't know is that during slave times and even after slave times, the people who were very racist here, they would call every black man a boy. So even if you're 85 years old, you're an 85-year-old man, a 10-year-old white boy will say, hey, boy, come here. So they called the black people, it was an insult. It was like calling them children, right? So guess what? The black men started saying, I'm going to call you man. Why? Because you are a man.
It was something,
Yeah. It was a way to say that. Now, guess what? It goes on. The word cool. We use that word all the time, right? It's cool, right? That word comes from this also. During that time period, if you were black and a white person came up to you and said something rude, if you get angry, it's bad. Right? Because in the racist times, if you have a white guy and you get a black guy and two of them are arguing, who's going to win the fight? The white guy. Why? Because he's white. And it's a racist society, right? So, be cool. What does cool mean? Cool has one meaning, means the temperature. It's cool outside today, right? Yeah. It's not hot. It's not cold. It's cool. It's temperate. So the word cool was actually used to tell them, hey, don't get upset. Don't get mad. Be cool.
I think you... Yeah.
Oh, I lost you for a second. Did you hear me, Musa? So the word...
Yeah, I think you or I, were breaking up for a second, but now... Yeah,
so the word cool originally meant be calm. Don't get upset. Don't let things bother you. And that's what jazz musicians look like. When you see a jazz musician like Miles Davis, you see Miles Davis and he's holding his trumpet. He doesn't care what you think. He doesn't care about anybody else but what he thinks. That's cool. Being cool means I'm not going to get upset by what you think. I have my views. I'm cool. That's what coolness is. So that's the funny thing about coolness is many people today think cool means trying to be cool. But the funny thing is as soon as you try to be cool, you're not cool.
Okay. So originally, being cool actually means not care about anything and do your own way.
It means do your own thing. Don't and it means don't get bothered by what other people say, right? And originally, it came from the racism. right? Because again, like imagine you're a black musician and you're standing out on the sidewalk, you're just relaxing on your break, right? You're taking a break from your music, and then a white guy comes up and starts arguing with you.
Yeah.
You better be cool. You better
Sure.
be cool,
Yeah.
because if you're not cool, then it's bad news for you, right? So
Yeah.
again, these words, they come from the culture. They come from slang develops out of life. It's a circumstantial thing. It develops out of life, right? So those words were developed out of necessity, right?
Wow.
And that's the way that slang is. Slang is culturally developed, almost like bacteria that grows in a in like a culture, you know. It develops that way. Yeah. The history of language is one of my favorite things to talk about. The etymology. Etymology is a hobby of mine, and I've been studying it for like 15. Well, no, I've been studying it since I was 15, and I'm almost 50. So I've been studying it for a long time.
Wow.
Yeah, and English words.
That's really impressive. Yeah.
English words are really interesting. There are so many interesting stories behind so many of our words, and slang words in particular are very interesting. The way they develop is really interesting.
I heard that the word "okay" comes from some military-related stuff. I don't.
No, this
remember
one's
exactly. Yeah.
this one's actually a really, really good story. It doesn't come from military stuff. This
Okay.
one's a really weird story. This comes from around the late 1800s, early 1900s in America. During that time period, the American newspapers were the biggest form of media back then, right? There was no TV,
Yeah.
there was no movies, there was no radio. It was just newspapers. Everybody got things from the news, right? So, during that time period, there was this time when they liked to play with words a lot. They liked to make jokes with the words, right? So the word okay was actually, it means all correct.
Okay.
But wait, how can that mean all correct if it's ALLCORRECT? Then that doesn't make
And
sense.
there's no K. It's correct.
That's right.
Like
C.
C.
That's
Yeah.
right. But that's the joke. Because
Ah.
the sound of all, that's O. That's an O sound.
Yeah,
And correct. That's a K sound. So that's the joke. It was a literary joke that they like to play with words to make these little jokes. So all correct. Oh, it's all correct. It's okay.
Yeah. Oh, correct. Wow. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
it's like easy, like the letters EZ to mean easy. It's kind of like that. But all correct was an extra joke because, again, it was like spelling it wrong. You know, it was like deliberately spelling it wrong. Yeah. So, yeah, again, that's etymology, and that's sometimes they're really interesting. You know, sometimes the idioms or the words, they have really interesting stories. And it makes it so much easier to remember the vocabulary if you find a cool story about the word.
Yeah,
You
for
know.
sure. I mean, you live, you learn. Especially when it comes to a foreign language, you can, learn about it like for a whole life. It can take you a whole life, and it's a very interesting journey for sure.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of kind of languages in general, but English is the one I'm obviously learning, and I'd like to know like everything about it as much as I can. So yeah, I'm not only planning, on be like good at speaking English, but knowing English from inside. I think it's like amazing.
Yeah,
such
that's
knowledge
the way
about
I tell,
English.
some people when they learn, they just want to get to the top of the mountain. And if you just get to
Right.
the top of the mountain, that means you only know one trail and you got there as fast as you could. That's great.
For sure.
But some people don't want to just get to the top of the mountain. Some people want to know the mountain.
Yeah.
And that's very,
Right.
very different. Getting to the top is great. That's wonderful. You got to the top. But if you really want to understand learning, the point of learning is not to get to the top. The point is to know the mountain.
Yeah, you gotta know all mineral stones and all
Yeah,
chemical
that's right. You have to know,
substances
you have to
in
know
the mountain.
every path. You have to know all the trees and everything that's involved in that mountain and the height
Yeah.
and everything about it. Yeah, that's right. You have to go deeper. But
And etymology And etymology is something where you can learn where does actually this mountain come from.
That's right.
How it actually
That's
appeared.
right.
Yeah.
That's what I tell people, Musa, is I tell people that, lots of people tell me that they forget words. Like, how can I memorize words better? And I tell them, don't memorize. Memorizing is the worst way to learn. Don't memorize. And here's what I say. If I came to your city and I was walking down the street and you're walking down the street, I see you, you see me, but we don't wave, we don't say anything, you're not going to remember me. A few days later, you'll forget about me altogether. If I wave to you, maybe you remember me for an hour or two. If I say hi and introduce myself, maybe you remember me for a week or two. If we go have lunch and I talk to you and you talk to me and I find out where you're from and you find out where I'm from, you're going to remember me forever. Words are just like people. If you spend time with them, you will remember them. If you do not, you will not. So sometimes I tell people that when you memorize, it's kind of like if I asked you to go out to lunch with me and then you're sitting across the table from me, and instead of talking to you, I just look at you and I say, Musa, 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 Musa. I just say your name 100 times. That's what memorizing is. Memorizing is just like, I'm going to say the word and hope I remember. I'm going to say it 100 times and I'll hope I remember it. That's why it doesn't work, because it's the most shallow form of learning. And it just is so easily in this ear and out that one. Right? Yes. So to make it more, to remember it, you have to make a deeper connection with it. So when you go out to lunch with someone, you say, well, where are you from? And they say where they're from. Well, words come from places too. 60% of English words come from Latin or Greek, 30% come from French, 20% come from German. We have words from Arabic, from Persian, from Russian, from Chinese, from Japanese, all in English, right?
Yes.
You find out where they're from. That's interesting. When you meet a new person, you have lunch, you ask, do you have any family? Do you have any brothers and sisters? Right? Words have families too, right? So the word microphone. Microphone is a word. How many other words have the word micro in them? How many other words have the word phone in them? Those are cousins. Those are brothers and sisters. That's the family of that word, right? And you can ask, what's your job? Oh, you have a job. Words have jobs too. It's a noun. It's a verb. It's an adjective. Those are jobs, right? So when I find a word, I treat learning like a spider web. Okay, and when a spider makes a web, if it only makes one strand, it's not going to catch anything. That's a weak web. So what does it do? It makes many, 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 many strands. And now they're connected and they're strong. Your brain is the same way. If you only make one connection, it's weak and it will be gone. But if you make many connections, I know where it's from. I know how to pronounce it. I know how to spell it. I know its, synonyms, and I know the root. I know all of those. Now you have many connections to that word.
Yeah, you got to build kind of network and also use this association method to memorize words better for sure. And the more you interact with words, the more chances you have to remember.
Yeah, well, that's what association is. Association is connections. That's what association means. You're making connections with things. You're associating it with things that you already know, right? Yeah, that's what you're doing. Yeah. Sometimes it's funny. People will treat every word like they're just new. This is a new word, but it's not. It's related to a lot of other words, and maybe it's related to words you already know. So
like the example that I brought up is microphone. Micro is something really small or tiny, and the phone is something that actually sounds.
That's right.
It's a small, a little thing that sounds.
That's what it means. That's what microphone means. It means to make small voice big, right? Yes. My voice is small. A microphone will make it big. Yeah. Telescope. Tele means far. Scope means to look far. Television. Tele means look. Vision, to see. I can see the picture on the television from far away. We're transmitting, right? Trans, all the words that have trans. Trans means across. Transatlantic means to go across the Atlantic. Trans-Pacific means to go across the Pacific, right? The word, I always like to tell people this one. Here's one that nobody ever thinks of. The word important. Where does the word important come from?
Import. Well,
Imports.
import is something to bring something
That's
in.
right,
Is
because
that?
you need
Yeah.
them. They are important.
Okay.
That's where the word
Important.
important comes from, because imports are important. You need them. That's things you don't have. They are important.
Wow, that makes so much sense to me. Like import to bring something in, it means that you actually lack it and you really need it, and
That's
you gotta
right.
import it.
Yeah.
That's why it's important.
See, now
Wow.
when you tell somebody that, now they're like, wow, okay, yeah, that's cool. And now I can remember it,
Yeah.
right? There's another one I
Yeah.
like to tell people, the word steak, like to
Okay.
eat a steak, right? And the word stick, stick, right?
Okay.
Why do those words look and sound the same?
Let me guess. I have a theory of mine. So
Okay,
it's a
sure.
stick and steak, right?
Uh-huh.
Steak is kind of a barbecue meat, right?
That's
So
right.
maybe it's because you use stick while cooking steak or something like that. I
You're
know.
exactly
Or
right.
maybe like,
That's exactly what
okay.
it is, because the first and most obvious way to cook a steak is to put it on a stick and put it on the fire.
Right.
That's the most
Wow.
obvious way. So steak and stick sound and look the same because they're related,
Wow, that's so interesting.
right?
I didn't know that's so much connection
Oh, there's
between
so
like
many, man.
different
I could
words.
go on and on and on and on and on. I actually
Wow.
do a whole stream, one of my streams on Thursdays. Usually I do a stream about etymology, and I just tell all these stories,
Wow.
or people will ask me questions about a word, and I'll tell you where it comes from, or what language it comes from, or what words are related to it, or whatever.
Let me ask you, Mark, do you often go online? Do you often do streams?
So,
Streams?
yes and no. I'm one of the most popular streamers here, but I don't get paid for any of this, right? So because I don't get paid for it, I do it as often as I can. But I have a life. I have busy things I need to do, right? So what I tell people is I'm usually here at least 5 days a week. Usually somewhere in the morning, my time, right? So I live in Ohio, but it's the same time as New York City, right? So New
Okay.
York City time, usually around 9:30 is when I start, maybe 10 in the morning, and then it's an hour or two. Like right now, I've been 2.5 hours. I've been here. So usually it's Monday through Friday, about that much time. Now, I try to do more. Sometimes I do voice streams and live streams, but I was doing about 10 or 12 a week, but it was too much. It was just too much.
I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say that, but you gotta try to monetize it somehow, you know? I'm not sure if it's the right question for you, you know?
No, that's perfectly fine for you to say it. I am. I have my own website. I have my YouTube channel. I'm working on a book and a video series about all my ideas and concepts about language learning. It just takes time. But I will tell you, if you guys think that I am valuable, you should tell HelloTalk. Okay,
Sure.
I know them well. Okay, I'm actually friends with the CEO of HelloTalk. I've been on HelloTalk for about 11 and a half years. The app has been on for about 12 years, so I was there almost from the beginning of the app, and I know them well. But they should create a way for the people who are valuable to make money. And
Okay.
and right now they don't have one. Like, it would be great if they had a subscription system where if you think I'm good, you can send me $1 every month, and that'll help me. That makes it worthwhile if I get some followers.
Okay, I'm new to this app, to be honest. It's not that I'm new, like, in terms of the time I've been using it. I'm just new in all the details that this app has. But as soon as I found out how I can do that to kind of address those CEO on this app, I will surely
You can message
report
that.
you. Yeah, in
Yeah.
a
So,
positive way.
guys,
Yeah.
if you go to the HelloTalk, if you just go to the messages, there is a HelloTalk team that you can talk to. It should be right there at the top of your screen. I think it's usually right there at the top. That, like, if you have a problem with the app, you just message them and tell them what your problem is, right?
Okay.
And yeah, you
Yeah.
can just message them. They know me. Believe me, they know me. So
Yeah.
you can just tell them, hey, Teacher Mark is really great. You guys should do something more to support him, or create a subscription system for him or something.
That's exactly how I will put it.
Yeah.
And my app is in Russian, so I don't think I'll have any issues like doing that. So I will do that for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, because I find your stream so like useful for a lot of people, and it shouldn't be anything like charity, if you allow me to use this word. It's not a charity. Come on.
Yeah, right. I know. And it is one of the things that's frustrating for me. It's a little difficult for me because I do put in a lot of time and a lot of work. And if you can't tell, I love what I do. I love teaching. And it's something I'm truly passionate about. And I have been for a long time. I started teaching drums when I was 18 years old. And I'm almost 50 now. So I have been a teacher for a long time. English since 2009. But to me, teaching is teaching is teaching is teaching. I don't care what the subject is. It's a matter of how you do it that matters.
Right.
And if you have good communication and you have good passion and good energy and good patience, then you can be a teacher. And I think I do have all those things. So, I don't feel I'm bragging when I say I love teaching. It's just what I do. It's part of who I am.
I can tell it. I can tell it, and I can see, by the way you actually talk about things. Like I've been a teacher for a pretty long time, and I thought that I kind of have, a lot of experience in it. But I learned, like, within this conversation, I've learned a few completely new things that I've never heard anyone say to me before. And this idea that it gave me about, like, there should be some entertainment element in teaching, like getting your students involved and interested in the process. I've never thought of this.
Of course. Musa, Finland used to have the worst test scores in all of Europe in their schools. And then they decided to completely revamp and redo their entire system of education. And they remade it to be based on play, right? So the kids learn through play. Now they have some of the highest test scores in Europe.
Wow.
Because all of the data about learning shows that learning happens best through play.
Okay.
So no matter how old you are, we're designed to play and learn, right? When I was a boy, I spent so much time out in the woods just playing with my friends or by myself, right? But I didn't realize that I'm learning about biology and about the trees and botany, about the plants, and I'm learning about the fossils I'm finding and geology and archaeology and paleontology by just playing. I learned about those things. I didn't know it, but I was. I can say it for sure now. I know things about those things that most people don't know. Because I went and played and I found a fossil and I said, wow, that's cool. I want to know, where does this come from? And I learned from it. That's what they do, right? A kid in Finland will go outside and play. He'll climb a tree. He'll go up the tree and he'll fall and come back in and they'll say, what happened? What did you do? And he'll say, well, I climbed a tree. And they'll say, well, what kind of tree was it? Oh, it was a maple tree. Oh, that's interesting. And the leaves on the maple tree are red right now. That's interesting. Why are they red? Oh, that's because of the, chloroform and the conversion of the sugars and this and that, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. They just let the kid play and then they talk about it. Right?
Right.
And,
That's why I always tell my sister, one thing I always tell my sister, to let her kids outside all the time. I mean, they're my nephews. I do care about them, but I often find them, just sitting on their phones, out in the house, because, it's not only about walking around. It's like a nonstop learning process when they're out there.
Yeah, right. It is, but you don't realize it. But again, you should say go out and play.
Yes.
Play. I'm not asking you to go out and do homework, man. I'm asking you to go out and play. Go do something interesting. Climb a tree. Dig a hole. Go find a creek. Go fishing. Go do something outside. Just do something, Yeah, it's amazing what you can learn. Even when you're throwing a ball with your friend. You're learning trajectory, you're learning velocity, you're learning about gravity, and you're learning about physics,
Maybe even improving your reaction.
That's right. Yeah. So what it comes down to is smart people are smart because of their awareness of knowledge.
Okay.
They're aware that there's something to be learned, so they learn it. Children are learning all the time, but they're just not aware. They're not aware of it, right? So the smart kid is the kid who's aware, oh, there is something to be learned here. So when he finds a fossil, yeah, that's cool. Look at my cool fossil. Wow. But he actually wants to know about, oh, this is a brontosaurus or this is a brachiosaurus or whatever, and he learns about it. That's the difference between smart people and dumb people, is smart people are aware that there is something to be learned.
Right. And one thing you can say about children that they're smart or potentially smart is that they're so curious when they see anything, like let's say it's a box or it's a toy. The first thing they want to do is to set it apart to see what's inside.
Yeah, what's this? What's that about? Why? Who? How? What? When? Where? Why? Right. That's what I said. Adults, when we get older, we're told that we shouldn't have that kind of a mind anymore because it's mature. But it's such it's a really, honestly, it's not just a fallacy. It's a detriment to humanity, because curiosity is the number one reason why we still exist. We're curious about things. We find out more about things. So it's weird that we discourage people from being curious the older they get, because we tell them somehow that curiosity is only for children. That's weird.
I mean, at some point, like, ancient people might have got curious about where the thunder or lightning comes from. And that kind of made them learn to make fire.
That's right. Everything that we've ever learned has been from being curious. Every single thing that we've ever learned has been from being curious. Right. So that's why I'm saying curiosity is one of the most critical parts of being a human. And to me, to be honest, one of the biggest sins a human can make, incuriosity. Incurious. To be incurious.
Incurious.
Yes. Means I'm not curious about stuff. That is one of the biggest sins you can make as a human being. There is one particular person who's in charge of my country right now who is particularly incurious.
Okay.
I'll just say that. That's a man who's he's not curious to find out more. Like, he doesn't care. He knows what he knows, and that's what he knows, and that's enough,
So anyway. Incuriosity can actually lead you to ignorance, and being ignorant can
absolutely
put you in some trouble for sure.
Yeah, that's exactly how it works. If you're incurious, then you don't know about things, and that's what ignorance is. It's a lack of knowledge. It's not that you have bad intentions. But if you have no knowledge, then you can't make the right decisions.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Knowledge is power. That's what we say, right? So, yeah. Anyway, Musa, I need to go because we're coming up on 3 hours and I'm tired. I need to go take a break and have some lunch. But it was a real pleasure to talk to you, my friend, and I do hope that it was useful. And yeah, you heard different things from me because... because I didn't learn teaching from school. I learned teaching by teaching.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
And so
that's the best way to get knowledge.
That's right. To be honest with you, teaching is one of those things that you cannot really learn any other way. You can read about psychology and sociology and things that will help you to be a better teacher, but the truth is you have to actually do it to become it.
You can't fix a car until you go and fix it, right?
That's right. Yeah. But there are some people who go and they study how to be a teacher, but they don't know how to teach.
Yeah. That's the case for sure.
Yeah. So go do it and learn from it. Everything I'm telling you is because I care about what I do, and so I can think of how many times I went home and thought, I want to do this better, or I think this could be better, or I think I need to work on this more, or how can I make this work better, or what's the problem with this? What's the solution to find? And then use your creativity to find it, Yeah. The answers are there. You just have to find them.
Yeah, and teaching equals learning.
It does. Yeah. And that's what I tell everybody is everybody is a student and everybody is a teacher.
Yeah, that's for sure. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome, my friend. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, I'm not exaggerating at all, saying that it was extremely helpful for me, and I'm really grateful for you to you for doing this. And let me first follow you because I hope to see you again. And
Definitely.
how can I?
Click on
Yeah,
my
how can I?
picture.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, click on my picture, and then you should be able to click the follow button. And I'll tell everybody here also is my website. You can go to my website, and on my website, Musa, there are many, many, many. Let me try that again. Why did that not work? Hold on, one moment.
Is that the last one that you sent a efficient? Oh,
Oh, there it is. Yeah, that's my website right there. Do you guys see that?
yeah, I can see it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
afiecenglish.com. If you go to my website, there's you have to subscribe. It's free, but if you subscribe to my website, then there is a page on there called resources. And I took my time to try to find every great resource that's free to study English that I could find, and I put them all on one page on my page, right? So if you want to
Okay.
practice reading, writing, listening, speaking, TOEFL, IELTS, pronunciation, vocabulary, grammar, it's all on my page, free. You just go there and search. Just look through all the different resources that I found. Okay, and then also my YouTube channel is right here. Also, and everything I do on Hello Talk is also on YouTube at the same time.
Mm.
Right.
It's the same name on YouTube?
Yeah. So this will be uploaded as soon as I'm finished here. This will be on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you ever want to, if it went too fast or you couldn't make notes, it's on YouTube. You can just go watch it again.
So on YouTube is the same name of the channel. That's
Yeah.
exactly what your
Same.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
AFIEC English. If you find that, you'll find me. Yeah. Okay. And you can
Okay.
also find it if you go to my profile on Hello Talk and you search from the bottom of the profile. There's a link there you can find, and it'll give you everything. Okay.
Yeah, it's the first thing I'm gonna do. Yeah, I'll reach them out and tell them about it for sure.
I appreciate
the whole,
it. Yeah.
Hello Talk thing.
I mean, really, they know, but they need a push. They know,
Right.
but they need a push. There have been many good teachers on this app who have left because there's just nothing here for them. I continue to do it because I love this app and I just have I feel like this is kind of my home, right? But I just think they need to make it a better home for certain people like me.
Of course they should. Of course they should. There's no doubt about it. Of course they should.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Musa, and I look forward to talking to you again sometime, okay?
Yeah, it was really nice to meet you, Mark. Take care.
Likewise.
Have a good evening.
Take
or
care,
have a
my
good
friend.
day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, guys, I gotta go. It's almost 1:00, and my dogs need to go out. I need to eat lunch. I need to go get work done. I've been here for almost 3 hours. Amir says you can use italki Preply. I've considered going to italki and Preply, but I know some people who have and have not liked it. So I think I'd rather stay here and just make it work here. I just want to, make it work here. So again, if you think I'm doing a good job, then please tell Hello Talk. Tell them. If they hear it, maybe that will matter. Okay? If they hear it enough, maybe that will matter. Okay? Thank you very much, Zoe. Thank you, Amir. Thank you, Sanjita. Thank you, Jack. All right, I need to go, but have a good morning, have a good evening, have a good afternoon, wherever you live. And I will see you guys on... I'm going to try to do one tomorrow. If I have time, I'll try to do a stream tomorrow also, okay? So, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.